Here's an inconvenient truth, dear viewer. Men and women tend to be interested in different things.
It's Blue. Make sure you like and subscribe and go follow me on my Twitch where I live stream 3 times a week. The link's down below. Also my Patreon where I have more content on there that I don't post here. Or is it? That's trope.
Wrong. It comes from the shoes, and you're coming off as very stupid and frankly quite rude walking in here like this.
Today I'm going to be reacting to another critical drinker video, the death of the girl boss.
I believe it was Newton's third law of motion, which states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Unfortunately, it doesn't work quite the same way in the world of corporate entertainment, where the rule would be better described as, for every 50 or so actions, there's an extremely belated and insufficient reaction. A good example of this would be the disastrous series of flops we've seen over the past year or two. Projects like Rings of Power, Peter Pan and Wendy, Ahsoka, She-Hulk, Resident Evil, Robin Hood, The Witcher, The Marvels, and most recently, Madam Web.
Why did you say that name?
I mean, let's be honest here, that was a movie that anyone with more brain cells than me after 6 pints of Skull Splitter knew was going to be a massive flop, despite having an opening weekend almost as long as its entire theatrical run if it carries on at this pace. I love this quote from The Hollywood Reporter from a North American distributor. On Wednesday night, you could actually watch advance ticket sales declining in real time as buyers were refunding their tickets. It really says something when you'd rather have Shazam 2 numbers. The point is that when a big flop like this happens, the access media tends to scramble to find a convenient and politically acceptable excuse. But in this case, The Hollywood Reporter seems to have made an admission about the film's target audience that I don't think anyone expected. Quote, "I don't know if women are enough to carry the box office here," one veteran studio source outside of Sony says. Indeed, males make up 65 to 70% of the superhero audience in North America. In the case of Madam Web, the percentage of female viewers was still only 46%. Now pay attention, 007, because this one's important. Madam Web was a superhero movie specifically designed to appeal to a female audience. It's got a female lead, a trio of female supporting characters, a female director, and a female-led writing team. And guess what? None of it helped. Women didn't turn out to see it, not in the numbers they needed anyway. It was the same problem with The Marvels. That film had 3 female leads, a female director, and an all-female writing team. And what happened to it? The male audience was put off by a movie that did everything except ban them from attending screenings. The much-anticipated female audience failed to show up, and as a result, it was the biggest box office flop in MCU history. So tell me, what exactly did these two movies have in common? That's right, they both tried to pander to an audience that was never going to see them in the first place. You know, it's actually kind of funny reading articles from mainstream outlets that cover stuff like this, because it's like watching someone with an almost complete jigsaw puzzle who simply refuses to put the final piece into place because they don't like the picture that it forms. Well, if they won't do it, then I'll have to do it for them. Because here's an inconvenient truth, dear viewer. Men and women tend to be interested in different things.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh man.
I know, it's truly an earth-shattering revelation, but there it is. In fact, if you care to break down the box office statistics by gender, you'll find that women make up 85% of audiences for romance movies and 70% for musicals. Men, on the other hand, make up 70% of the audience for superhero movies, 75% for action movies, and 65% for science fiction and fantasy. In fact, this nifty little graphic from the British Film Institute breaks down the preferred genres for men and women.
I just heard the opposite of what I like. Again, I know it's not about me. It's just funny to see that it's like you're not in the percentage range because musicals and romance. The intelligent thing is to, if you are selling anything, know your market. You know, I'm probably not going to start like a makeup channel. I think there's a lot of men here, so I'm probably not going to do that. I'm not saying I can't. You know, I could do it. It'd really not be successful. Like 300 of you might watch it. Send it to your girlfriends. But I just want to do that. So it's, even if you want to kind of pull in another audience, like, oh, women don't really watch a lot of action superhero movies. You're going to throw away your audience just to try to get women to watch it? Women don't like it either. I'm sure a lot more women liked the older Marvel movies, if they liked Marvel movies, than liking the newer ones. I don't see women a lot saying, wow, those older Marvel movies were awful, but I love them now. If they didn't watch them, they're probably still not watching them. And if they did used to watch them, I don't know if they still are.
In fact, this nifty little graphic from the British Film Institute breaks down the preferred genres for men and women, and you can clearly see the difference in preference between them. That's not a good or a bad thing, but it is a thing that movie studios should pay attention to. Instead, they've been doing the exact opposite in recent years. They seem to regard audience demographics as a problem that needs to be fixed, instead of the inevitable result of different groups of people having different interests. And the thing is, their solution has produced the worst possible outcome for everyone. In the case of the big box office franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Star Trek and others, which naturally tend to skew towards a male audience, they made a conscious decision to tell more stories with female leads. A lot more. There's nothing wrong with that on the face of it, but whether or not it works all comes down to implementation. Instead of writing likeable and distinctly feminine characters that complemented the existing male ones, the writers and creatives treated it more like a competition that only one side was ever allowed to win. A story about a female protagonist learning to free herself from the oppressive demands of others and discover her true potential is a perfectly viable story to tell. The problems creep in when that becomes the only story that you ever tell, and their standard practice of lazily taking stereotypical male traits and pouring them straight into female characters failed to win anyone over. Men were generally put off by the new crop of overbearing, aggressive, infallible girl bosses who seem to exist purely to show off and humiliate their male counterparts at every opportunity, while women failed to connect with them either because they represented masculine ideals that didn't come naturally to them in a genre that most of them didn't particularly care for anyway. In short, Hollywood's wasted billions of dollars chasing an audience that doesn't exist, and in the process, they've gradually pushed away the one that did. On the flip side, look at what happens when you actually understand your target audience and make a film that caters specifically to them. Barbie was the biggest hit of 2023, and even if I personally didn't like it, that doesn't matter one bit because it wasn't made for me. It was a movie written and directed specifically for women. Everything from its aesthetics, to its dialogue, to its themes and messaging were designed to appeal to female audiences, and it worked big time. Top Gun Maverick, on the other hand, was aimed primarily at men because it incorporated so many of the masculine tropes and themes that men traditionally find appealing. Action and explosions, advanced technology, fighter jets, militarism, macho conflict and competition. Both of these films achieved massive success because they understood their core audience and how to appeal to them. Now imagine how detrimental it would have been if the studios tried to incorporate elements that appealed to the opposite gender. Like if Barbie's colourful exploration of female identity, empowerment and self-actualization was interrupted by big macho action scenes with guns and explosions and technology porn. Or Top Gun
Ken just
Maverick
comes
devoted
in
lengthy
with-
sequences to a female pilot lamenting how difficult it is to gain respect in a male-dominated profession while maintaining her sense of feminine identity and her aspirations for marriage and family. In both cases, the core target audience would probably have rolled their eyes and thought, why do they have to inject this crap into my movie and totally spoil the fun? Well, congratulations, now you know how it feels to be a fan of any of the big franchises over the past decade or so. The thing is, I think the message is finally starting to sink in with the good people of Hollywood. Maybe not the creatives, but definitely the soulless money men paying their salaries who've spent the past several years watching their profit margins slowly fall off a cliff. Like I said earlier, for every 50 or so actions, there's a belated reaction from Hollywood, and it's finally starting to happen now. The first domino to fall is Silk Spider Society, a female-centric Spider-Man.
Sorry if it's a weird time to cut off, but before he starts getting into the details of that character, I'd rather just stop here because he made a lot of really good points, and it's just a good time. Almost too many good points because I can't pause all the time, but by the time I pause, I'm like, wait, I don't remember. Barbie, clearly more, I would say all, but it's not probably fair to say all. Nearly all people who probably bought and played with Barbie were girls. Again, not all, but it's most. And then most people who have ever seen Top Gun, because I definitely know the people who have pushed in on me, you have to see Top Gun. The second I say I like planes, see Top Gun, it's always men. That was another good point that he made, is there's these girls that are sometimes thrown in movies, and even if you want them to be the main character, it always turns into them making their side character, which is a male, their counterpart character, as competition. Like they degrade them, demean them, make it seem like, okay, well, Hulk is just this nothing thing, and well, you have to put a little bit of respect on something that's been around for so long. The only reason why there's She-Hulk is because there's Hulk. So maybe just don't make fun of the character that you're coming in and essentially replacing / supporting, even if it's your movie and you're the main character. Well, then just make it about yourself. It's really just like a hater mentality. If you're constantly focusing on the thing that you're better than, or that you're not like, or that you don't like, or all the ways that you're different from this thing that you aren't, then you're not really focusing on your own character development, your own struggles. What did you come from? What bothers you? And then it's always the same thing. It's men oppressing women. And it's like, well, you're kind of the bully here, so you're not really convincing me that you come from this world, because the only thing I've seen in this movie is you make fun of all of the male characters.
The first domino to fall is Silk Spider Society, a female-centric Spider-Man spin-off in development at Amazon Prime. According to the press releases, the entire writing team's been fired and the show is being refocused with a more male-skewing audience in mind. Now, this might not sound like much of a big deal, but it is, because it's the first time that a studio had the balls to publicly declare that they're targeting a project towards a male audience again. In 2024, that's the equivalent of a vegan restaurant saying that their new menu is going to cater towards meat eaters. It's the first time that anyone in Hollywood's openly admitted that what they've been pushing on us for the past decade or so just isn't working, no matter how much money they throw at it. That you can't make every movie appeal to every person. That trying to attract female audiences into a male-dominated genre with clumsy pandering doesn't work and never will work. In the words of Nerdrotic, all they're doing is taking boy brands that everyone could enjoy and turning them into girl brands that no one enjoys. So what exactly can we expect now that the pendulum's starting to swing the other way? And more importantly, what do we want to see moving forwards? Well, believe it or not, I don't think their approach needs to change that radically if they want to win back old fans and restore a bit of balance. Franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, DC and Star Trek can still have plenty of kick-ass female heroes going on exciting adventures. They just need to be written more like actual human beings with believable flaws and weaknesses and challenges to overcome, instead of overbearing, obnoxious power fantasies that nobody can identify with. And they need to be balanced out by equally strong and capable male heroes that appeal to male audiences. Because believe it or not, those are the driving force behind your box office revenue. They need characters who can actually challenge and push them to be better, who don't automatically give way to them at the slightest sign of conflict, instead of the neutered lumps of wet lettuce that we've been getting, who are always portrayed as less smart, less skilled, less confident, and, well, just less in general. And yeah, after almost a decade of trying to make it work, I think it's about time to accept that the great experiment has been a complete failure. You're not going to get equal numbers of women to watch science fiction or action or superhero movies, just like you're not going to get equal numbers of men to watch romance flicks or musicals. The girl boss concept is dead. You might not like it, but your audience is your audience all the same, and if you don't start catering to them, you might just find that they no longer exist, and perhaps neither will you. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
It doesn't even really feel or seem like it was thrown to try to just get women to watch. It seems like there was maybe just this one room full of women who all thought it was just a great idea, and it pleased them. They all thought that their idea, oh my gosh, girlfriend, your idea, that is so cool, you should do that, oh my gosh. Like, nobody told each other, Ashley, that's really stupid. Like, that has no substance. No one just had that conversation with each other. Like, did no one want to hurt someone's feelings because this isn't really, it doesn't feel completely, oh, this is what goes wrong whenever you try to pander to a female audience. Hearing that part is hard because I know that is what they admitted that they were doing, and clearly you shouldn't do that regardless if you failed or did it successfully, because if you did it successfully, how much more people could you have really gotten than the audience you already had? But I did still enjoy this video because I actually feel like it was the maybe easiest one to speak on, since it was more vague and not specific about something I haven't seen. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you go check out Critical Drinker, and also all of my links down below where I live stream and my Patreon and stuff. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye, baby blue.